What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Heat and Soul Podcast. Today, I'm joined by my friend, Kevin Rose. How's it out there in LA? I know we did a little bit of switcheroo. We come back, do a podcast here in Indy, but how is it out there right now?
It's beautiful out here. Nothing but sunshine.
Well, we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about Kevin, talk about his career and what he does. He is a professional NBA trainer. Is that correct, Kevin?
That's correct.
He has trained with and Demar Derozan, with the likes of Demar Derozan, Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins. He has his own brand, Key Reps. Make sure to go follow them on Instagram. Follow KevinRose.basketball on Instagram as well. He is partnered with Dribble Too Much, and is it Dribble Too Much, correct? It's Dribble Too Much and Dribble. And but today we're gonna get into it. We're gonna have a podcast about him. We're gonna talk about his little thing he's got going on, but it's really good to see him. He's been very successful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Heat and Soul Podcast. But today we're gonna get into it. So let's get into it, Kevin. So give us a little backstory on you.
All right. So just a little backstory. I basically started playing basketball in 6th grade. By the end of like 7th grade year, I was like a top player in the nation. I think I was like 59th in the nation. And then I was like number 1 in my position in the state of Indiana.
Okay.
After that, played varsity basketball since freshman year. Went on to play Division I basketball at IUPUI. I walked onto the team. And then pretty much after that, I got into coaching and training. I coached at Crispus Attucks, where I won middle school championships, won state championship. And then after that, I got into like more individual training. And, I first started off working for a company, and I learned how to train the youth. And then I ended up moving to LA after 2 years of that. And I got into the Mamba Academy. When I was training at Mamba Academy, I really learned like the detail that you have to be to teach somebody. You have to, give them all of the details, like in order for them to get every step, and then, now I'm in LA training independently, and I partner with Handle Life and Dribble Too Much, and things are going good.
It's going good. So when you work with these pros, when you work with these professional athletes, when you work with the likes of Demar, Chris, Andrew, what do you bring to those workouts? What do you have an impact on in those workouts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that, I'm learning. I'm just learning a lot from Dribble, and I'm learning from the players themselves. And what I really bring to the table is that, I still keep myself in shape. I actually played in the Drew League this year, and I feel like that I give them a real look, when I'm guarding them. I'm trying to guard them as hard as I can. And I understand that, we're working out in a half-court setting, and it's way different guarding them full court, coming off of screens and different stuff like that. But I feel like that, I'm in shape enough and I have enough size. I'm like 6'5", that I can like give them a good look of like defense that they'll see like in the game, and it helps them to like prepare for the season.
What is it like training with Chris Paul? Because he's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
He's a Hall of Famer. So what is it like training with a Hall of Fame point guard that is that detailed when he plays?
It's great. I mean, Chris, he shares a lot of information, and he's very detailed. And like for example, like say if I'm setting a screen for him and it's in the wrong spot, he'll tell me, like he'll correct me and be like, oh no, in the game it'll be in this spot, and he'll show me like the angle and everything, and like give me the detail of it, like where they're going to set it at this angle, and then he'll explain why they're setting it at this angle, and then we work from there. So it's really good because like Chris, he has a basketball mind, and he shares his information. So it's really good.
That's really cool to work with somebody that's that smart with basketball. I mean, right. He is very detailed on the court. When he's on the court, you see him and just everything. He'll make the extra pass. He's like a Steve Nash, Jason. You know what I mean? Seriously, they make the extra pass.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, for him, I feel like he just makes the game easy because he has such a high basketball IQ.
Yes, he's a very smart basketball player. You and Dribble came up with the drill that you and me did. What is that drill? Talk about that drill.
Yeah, so the rhythm drill, like it's basically a drill just to connect your feet with the ball. You want to stay low and just move the ball, and then you're stepping over a line. So if you're doing it right, then you'll be just stepping over the line repeatedly. And the faster you dribble, the faster you can move your feet. And it's just a great way to, like, one, warm you up, and two, connect your feet with the ball so that, your handles can improve.
So we're here to talk about what you can impact. So what do you bring to the table for the youth training? What for the kids that you train a majority of the time, like after the NBA season is off, when they're off to playing, what do you bring to the youth when you train younger kids, high school through elementary?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I'm training younger kids, like, it's just more like giving back. Like, I've traveled all around the world training basketball. I recently went to Europe to train basketball.
Okay.
And, I feel like that I'm just sharing my knowledge that I've learned.
What do you try to implement into their workouts?
I mean, for one, I try to work on their weaknesses, whatever they're not good at, and I try to help them improve it. And I just try to instill confidence in them, and make them believe in themselves, and show them, like, how to have their right mentality, like how to go about it, or even teaching them how to work out in general. Because some people, like, they might want to work out, but they don't even know how to work out. So then it's like, I might even give you a routine so you can work on stuff and then, get better. Because I always tell players, like, even if you train with me or train with anybody, you have to remind yourself. Because I remember what it was to be an elite player. Like, if I miss a shot, I'm like, man, I gotta do this better so I can make that shot. Or
Yep.
Or when I just was really elite, I was like, you get to a point where, like, I'm not gonna miss any layups. I'm gonna make all my layups. Stuff like that, like, where it's more of like a mindset.
Yep. So you know what to fix and you know what to work on. And that's what makes a trainer valuable. You see the great trainers, they know how to train players. They know what their weaknesses are, they know what they're really good at, and they know what they're decent at, but they're not, you know what I mean? They're not fully there.
For me, it's like, I feel like I can just see your talent. Like, I can see what you're good at, I can see what you're not good at. I can see if you need to improve your footwork or just anything. I can see it.
The thing that me and him, when we did that drill out in LA, the rhythm drill, I came home. I've been doing it for about a week and a half now, and it has already improved my dribbling. I'd come back to LA. Let's say I fly out next week. He'd be like, "Who in the world is this kid doing this stupid drill?" But anyways, what would you tell a high school player trying to go pro? What would you tell him? Let's say he's in the 10th grade. What would you tell a high school player trying to go pro?
I mean, I would just tell him, just never stop working. Anything could happen. You could be in different situations. If you just keep working, you never know what could happen. You can work hard and put yourself in any situation. So I would say the main thing I would tell them is just to never give up and just to always keep working, because the moment you stop working, like, you're going to lose the edge. And then what if an opportunity comes and it's like, man, I could have been prepared more for that opportunity. So you got to just always just keep working.
Stay prepared. That's the key. But key reps. That's the key, isn't it? Key reps.
Key reps, man. I made that company. It's basically, the key to being great is repetition. So, you got to put that work in if you want to be great. You can't just work out with a trainer for an hour and think that you're going to be good. No, you got to work out, learn, and then apply that and work on that for hours, whatever that you learned, then perfect it. You got to go perfect it.
Talk about your brand a little bit. Talk about key reps. Where did that come from?
I mean, I basically, I wanted to start my own brand just to, have a message behind it so that people can understand, like, hey, you got to put the work in if you want to be good. And, it's just like, I mean, that's just what I learned even from myself. It's like, repetition.
Yep.
If I want my jump shot to be good, I got to shoot a lot of shots.
Yep.
If I don't want to miss layups, I got to practice my layups at different angles and using the backboard different ways. Like, it's just repetition. You just got to perfect it.
Yeah, I mean, I really do dig your key reps. All right, it makes sense, man. But I want to congratulate you on the success that you've had. It's, I mean, seeing you grow since you left Indy. told me and my dad, I'm gonna do it. And look what you're doing.
Yeah, man. So I'll tell you a little story. So pretty much, when I left Indy, I drove to California. I got on the road. I drove. It was like 15 hours to Denver, 15 hours to Vegas, and then 4 hours to LA. And when I first got to LA, you know, I had everything set up, but then things didn't go as planned. Like sometimes things happen like that. And I remember when I was like, man, I'm out in LA. I don't have a job and I just got to figure it out. I was just like everybody else. I'm like, man, I'm out in LA. I got to figure it out. I don't really know anybody. And what I did, I just pretty much, I looked up Mamba Academy. It was like 2 hours away. I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I don't have nothing to do. So I was like, man, I'm about to drive up there. When I drove up to Mamba, I met a coach named Indy, and Indy was great, man. He's a mentor of mine still to this day. And pretty much when I met Indy, it was so cool because, I really felt like it was my destiny. Like I met Indy. He told me that, he's an alumni. He went to IUPUI, same college as me. And then he also told me that, he went to high school with my dad. And then once he realized that who I am and that I actually can bring value to the situation, and that, he actually has connections with me through my college, and then he also knows my dad. He helped me get into a better position, so then I got my job at Mamba. It was a great experience. I got to learn, and, I got to talk with Kobe Bryant and speak with him. And like, obviously I've always looked up to Kobe my whole life. And it was just a great experience to, just even be in that environment. And I learned a lot from there. And I took what I learned from there and just ran with it. And ever since then, I've just been independent and just making it happen.
I do have a question. What was it like, as we start to wrap this podcast up, what was it like talking to Kobe? Just picking his brain.
It was great, man. I mean, the best thing I can say about Kobe is that, he was just super humble. And I feel like that he was like he moved like the president, but he don't act like he moved like the president. Like he's so humble. Like, if somebody wants autographs or anything, he'll go out of his way. He'll literally go out of his way to, like, be there for his fans and different stuff like that. So Kobe was just a great person. Everybody around him knew that he was a really great person, and it was just a great experience to be around him. Like somebody that I looked up to my whole life.
I have a great Kobe story. So I can't say who it is, but I was talking to a NBA player that was put into Kobe's book, and he caught Kobe, and Kobe kind of dissed him. He's like, I played this way. I played physical against him. I touched him up. And he called Kobe. He said, man, why'd you do me like that? Right. He said, I'm one of the greatest players, MFR of all time. He said, he said, they like when I make stories. And it was just funny just to hear that. But no, it was a great, Kobe is definitely he's definitely one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Yeah. I mean, even for
one of the greatest basketball minds of all time as well.
For sure. I mean, even for me, like I always just try to have that Mamba mentality and just attack stuff every day and just try to be the best that I could be. And even in my workouts now, oh yeah, that's a great book. I read that book too. Even in my workouts now, I always try to wear Kobe's. I feel like they're one of the most comfortable basketball shoes ever made. And I just see it as a way that I can still, represent Kobe by just rocking the shoes still.
I had some of my best games ever played in Kobe's. So.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah. The high tops.
I like the highs and the lows. I like all the Kobe's, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. I like all of them. The last colorway that was released, I wasn't too big on those. The gold, black, and white. I wasn't too big on those, but I like a lot of Kobe's. I do. But I want to thank you for having you on, man. I wish you the best. You're very successful.
Thanks, man. I'm working, man.
I know. Thank you guys for tuning into this podcast. It was great having Kevin on. Make sure to go follow him at Key Reps on Instagram and at kevinrose.basketball. Make sure to follow us at Heat and Soul on all social media platforms, Heat and Soul Podcast. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I did that backwards, but it's okay. And thanks, Kevin. It was great talking to you. Great having a conversation, man.
No problem, man. Anytime, man. Keep doing your thing with your podcast and stuff. Keep, inspiring and sharing your story and allowing other people to come on your platform to share their story. And it's a great, man.
Thank you.
It was great seeing you in California too.
Yeah,
man.
It was. Well, hey, we'll be at this sometime soon again.
Yeah, come back soon.
We'll be back soon. All right. Heat and Soul Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning into our podcast. Kevin Rose, we had fun. We're out.